going to be recording. All right. So back to my presentation. So if you're watching the recording, here's my email address. It will also be at the end. Feel free to email me or give me a call, which the last slide has my phone number also, to ask any questions. I'm more than willing to help. SEO is a unique animal, and it is hard to diagnose sometimes. So reaching out and asking some questions never hurts. All right. So what exactly is SEO? SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization, which basically what that means is how your website or how your social media looks to Google or looks to Yahoo or looks to other industries that are looking through your website. One of the things that most people don't understand is you might have a web page backlinked or have a page off of a page, and that is considered a backlink. When you have a page off of the main page, that's what a backlink is. It's a secondary page on your primary page. Google and Yahoo and various search engines actually read all of that content and go through that content and look for keywords and look for content on your website and then rank that and store that in their database. So if somebody types in how to find a dentist or local dentist in my area or some keywords like that, then it knows where to go. And it is constantly looking and constantly going over the website. And every time you change it, it triggers a search engine to go back through your website and look at it. So every page you add, the search engine has to go back through and look at it. Sometimes it's not instant. Sometimes it might take a few days to a few weeks for that to actually update and go through the algorithm to say, okay, there's a new page, we need to go look at it. So keep that in mind. No results are going to happen instantly overnight. Let's go into SEO a little bit. So this is kind of an example of some of the stuff that can weight your SEO. So you can see what type of traffic, what type of keywords, what type of material is on the website, and how some of the things are graded. Different things grade at different times. So the one-size-fits-all SEO is impossible. There is no one-size-fits-all for every single website. Every customer and every website is different. Some might use the same keywords, some might use some of the same key phrases, but it's a little bit different. And every website is seen a little bit different. So a keyword that is working for someone else may not work for you locally because they might be pointing more towards national recognition than they are local recognition. So keep that in mind. It kind of depends on what you're looking for. And if one of the things that I teach in one of the SEO classes I teach is the fact that, okay, if you want to pinpoint a demographic locally, say I live in McKinney, Texas. So if I want to go after customers in McKinney, Texas, I'm actually going to put in my SEO McKinney, Texas, and then my keyword so that Google sees that algorithm that, okay, this is a McKinney, Texas for this service. So that's another piece of advice and a pro tip that I'm throwing out here right now that you guys can look at. All right, understanding the true meaning of SEO. So let's break down some of the information. So when I go into definitions and I talk about something, you guys don't get confused. I try to not use technical terms. I try to use common terms. And that's one of the things I like to get feedback from you guys if it's over your head or if it's just right. I want this to be just right for you guys so you guys can understand it, not somebody that is in the IT industry. Honestly, if you're in the IT industry, you should know what I'm talking about when I say keywords and all of that. But I want this to be for the simple folks that don't understand what us IT industry do and how we do it and the slang and all of that. I don't want slang in it. I try to keep it out as much as possible. So let's get started. One of the things you've got to look for in SEO that you want to be concerned about is the quality of traffic and the quality of your visitors. When you're looking at who's coming to your site, are you located in the United States and all your traffic's coming from overseas? That's one of the things you need to look at is, okay, demographics. If you're targeting overseas and you're getting that quality traffic, then your SEO is working great. But if you're targeting just California and all your traffic is coming from New York, then you might want to look at your SEO and you might want to gear it more towards locally things that are going on. So local towns, local information. It is not unheard of for some websites to literally have a website page built for every city and county in the area they're trying to advertise. Because the fact that if I'm looking for local IT support, I'm going to type in IT support near me. That means it's going to pull it up within a 100-mile radius. Well, let's just say your website doesn't have that local information and doesn't have that local page. It's going to skip over you. So you're not going to be on that page. And if you're on that page, you are going to be very, very lucky that you're on the first page and not the 10th page. So if you do a page for every city that you're in or every city you want to target, that's even better. That's something that can be done over time. You don't have to instantly run out and do it today for every single city. The way I actually do it is I have the exact same content for every city, and it just backlinks to that page. And if you do that search, you're not going to just see the website for Collin County, which is the county I live in. You'll see my normal website because that's where it will route you to, but there is a back page for Collin County that looks exactly the same as my homepage. So if you were to see that and click on those links, you're going to go to the exact same content that you would normally get. It's just got that keyword for that county so that Google sees in their algorithm, okay, he wants to target more local traffic than more national traffic. So that's one of the things that you want to look at. And Google has resources for you to look up information and all of that, and we'll cover that in pro tips here a little bit later. But you want to attract that quality traffic. So that's one of the main points of SEO is getting that quality traffic and getting the visitors you want. If you're in the water business of supplying water, you don't want traffic that should be going to Home Depot coming to your website. It's completely pointless, and you don't want that. So when you're doing your keywords, you kind of have to look at the industry you're in. One of the tips I actually say is go look at your competitor and see some of the keywords they're using and use some of the same keywords and adapt them for your area. Let's just say they're a national-wide company and they're targeting water bottle companies. Okay, well, you can target water drinkers that want water bottles in your local area and get higher on the page than that national company because most people are looking for something local. They're not looking for something national. So it would put you first versus them. The next is once you have the right people clicking through those search engine pages, then you're getting that traffic. You're getting more qualified traffic and leads so that you know what demographic you're targeting and what keywords are working. You might put in a keyword and it might work for 3 months and then stop working because people stop using that. Or the famous thing that lovely happens all the time is the algorithm changes. Google changes their algorithm in their spiders, which spiders are what climb through your website and look at every single header, every single picture, every single word on your website. It actually goes through, reads it, and classifies it. And I don't know how their algorithm works. I don't think I would ever understand it just for the fact that it changes all the time. This year alone, I think they have done 6 changes, and it literally could change tomorrow. They don't tell anybody when it's going to change. You can go on their website and ask for updates and all that. Usually I get the updates 3 to 4 days after they've changed it. So one keyword that might be working today might not work tomorrow. So one of those things you've got to stay on SEO. There is not okay, I'm just going to do it once and be done. Unfortunately, it used to be that way, but the way search engines work nowadays, it does not work that way at all. That kind of sucks, but welcome to life. Organic results and ads can make a significant thing. Here's my point with ads. If you do an ad and you're right on your niche and you have your keywords narrowed down and you have your keywords right on point, you're actually going to get more results than if you were paying for the ad. Because the organic is where you want the traffic to come for. Am I saying don't pay for ads? No, I'm not saying that at all. Paying for ads can be very helpful. It's going to get you in front of more people, and it's going to obviously cost you money. So there's nothing wrong with paid ads. But if you can get the organic results for free, wouldn't you want that? Usually that's how I like to do it, is I like to do all my organic traffic and get those leads and all that for not paying for anything. Because for me, it's a lot cheaper and easier if I'm not paying for it and getting those leads. One of the ways to find out if your keywords are going to work is maybe run a small ad and see how it works. And then go back and say, okay, these keywords are working or these keywords aren't working. So you could run that ad, say 3 weeks, run an ad for 3 weeks on the keyword Pepsi. And you see that Pepsi is working awesome. Or you see that it's horrible. Change your keyword, run a little bit of ads. Or you can just sit there and type in the keywords and leave the keywords there and see how it does. A lot of websites have a way where you can actually monitor how much traffic's coming to your website. If you don't have that tool, you need to get with a better web hosting company or a web developer that can actually plug that stuff in and show you what words are working and what information is working and what kind of people are looking for. Nothing's 100%. You've got to sit down and do your research on your keywords or key phrases. All right. So what are keywords? Used to be, in the past 5 years, it has changed from just keywords to key phrases. So keywords are very important, but also key phrases are very important. One of the key phrases that is very, very important in my industry is putting on my website how to. So how to fix slow internet or how to fix your website SEO. So that is a key phrase because most people are typing in nowadays how to do this. So those are key phrases. Now I could just put in slow Wi-Fi. It's going to recognize it. So somebody could type in slow Wi-Fi or slow internet connection. Or I could just say speed up your internet or something along the lines of that. Those are keywords. It's still going to read those keywords. It's still going to rank keywords higher, but phrasing is becoming more and more common. So when you're doing your writing of your content and your post of your blogs and all that, keep that in mind that some key phrases and keywording is obviously going to do better than others. And you want to, if you're doing a how-to, you would want to put how-to somewhere in your article so that it sees that, okay, this is a how-to. Or if you do FAQs, which are frequently asked questions, you would want to start off, maybe the head of your website, frequently asked questions, and then go into some more phrasing and keywords below that, so that helps the search engine rank those terms and make them more discoverable. As I said before, is you could use a keyword for 6 months and it works great, and then it changes. So that's why a lot of people say do blogs and do FAQs and continually do them. When I do a FAQ, I do one on SEO. Say I change some SEO stuff. I actually just create a new page, leave the old page there, and leave the old keywords there because it's not going to hurt anything by it being there, and go ahead and add to that page or create a new page. I usually like to create a new page because then it triggers Google to look at my website again and again and again, so that it goes over my whole website over and over and over, which is never bad. That means they're looking at it and re-ranking it and all of that. Now, it can be bad just for the fact that some wording and keywords aren't ranked as high anymore because nobody's using them, nobody's searching for them. So it might demote that ranking down a little bit, but in the long run, having more web pages is not going to hurt you. Why is SEO so important? Well, when you're optimizing your content for people and the phrasing and the terms, they can be ranked higher as you have better content and as you have better words and better phrasing. What do I mean about ranking your content? One of the things that you'll see in a slide here is when you get into content, having good content is better than having pointless content that doesn't solve anything or that doesn't explain anything. One of the rules I like to do with my content is explain it like I'm explaining it to a middle school kid. If a middle school kid can get it, anybody can get it. You're not going to talk over anybody's head because, let's face it, that's kind of the target you want to target, is that age group, because everybody can understand that terminology. If you start getting into bigger terminology, it tends to get more people to lean away from your articles and not want to read them because they're not going to understand, say, those techie words that I would use. You won't want to read an article that I put out that's full of tech content unless you're a tech person. Now, if that's what I'm targeting, go for it. That's going to be perfect. But if I'm targeting usually a general audience, you want to be able to target that audience with good content that's well written and well worded. Go back and research it. Go back and read your articles over and over and over and update them and change them to make that ranking higher. You can actually, what I like to do is create 2 websites and have them kind of have the same material and going over the same information and leave them up for a month or so and see which traffic goes to which website and which is getting more traffic. And then that's one way I'm like, okay, I need to build on this article and make it look better because that's going to make my target audience and my target web traffic come in more often. That's one way to do it. Most people call it A/B testing. That's one of the best ways you can figure out what keywords you need to use or key phrases. There is no one size fits all. Each industry is different. Many people struggle with SEO. Of course they do. It's very competitive. SEO is probably one of the most competitive things you can do on your website because a lot of your competitors are looking at your website. You're looking at their website. Everybody's looking at everybody else's website trying to use the same keywords. Let's say you're all using the same keyword and somebody runs a search for cell phones. Everybody's using that keyword cell phone. So what is going to separate you from everybody else? That article or that blog post that says cell phones, iPhone 12 or iPhone Pro 12, or just a little bit of that, just adding in that Pro can get you a higher ranking than just having iPhone. So keep that in mind. Those are competitive terms. And like I said earlier, you might have to switch those terms because a new phone comes out. So nobody's going to be looking for the iPhone 12 anymore. They're going to be looking for the 13 or 16 or 18. Nobody's going to look for that. Then again, say you did an article on the iPhone 6 years ago and somebody's having a problem with it. They're going to type in iPhone 6 and maybe yours is the first one to pop up because nobody else has done an article in forever on that, or they've deleted it. So keeping it up can keep you getting more traffic and keep things relative. You always want to continually updating things and adding more information to your website. One of the things that you don't want to happen is your website to get dormant and Google and Yahoo and DuckDuckGo aren't seeing any updates. They aren't seeing you do anything because it timestamps updates so that it knows, okay, this has been added or this hasn't been added. You don't want it to go dormant. You don't want the crawlers and the spiders and all that to stop looking at your website. There is a right way to keep things in mind and to keep everybody using keywords that might work. They may work, they may not. Like I said before, they could work for 3 months, they could work for a year, they could work forever. But sometimes people change the way they look at things and the way they type in things, and it could be demographic because just of their personality and the way they word things could be 100% different. So keep that in mind that, okay, if you're targeting somebody in Texas, you wouldn't target them with the same wording most likely as you would someone up north when it comes to, say, snow removal or something along the lines of that. People down in Texas don't care about snow removal. All they care about is ice removal. So you would want to change that keyword to ice removal. instead of snow removal or something along the lines of that. So those are keywords that can change dramatically what type of quality of traffic you have coming in. But like I said, keywords don't stay the same forever. You must stay on top of it. If you don't stay on top of it, your ranking over time is going to drop. I have seen websites that were on page 1 of Google without paying for any ads. Within 3 months, they were on page 10 because they didn't stay on top of their keywords and they didn't have a defined market, and Google changed their algorithm. So once they changed it, it went back to their website, saw that there were no updates, and went ahead and kind of put it on the, oh, this is stale, we don't really need to worry about it anymore. Is it possible to rank for a single word? Yes, 100%. As you can see here in the example, winning keywords. You can use one keyword and get all the results you want. But that doesn't necessarily mean one word's going to do it. It could be a phrase that does it. But yes, one keyword could make the difference. Like I was talking about earlier, if you're targeting people in your local area, you would want to build a website or a blog that says iPhone 12 repair in McKinney or iPhone repair in Charleston, South Carolina. And then the website sees, okay, when I'm going through this website, I see they're in Charleston and somebody's in the area looking for iPhone repairs in Charleston. I'm going to match them to this page. So it might just be that one term that does it. As you can see, you can sit here and look at the volume. If you look at the first one right here, they're getting about 12,000 viewers. That is up quite high. They're in the number 1 position. They're actually paying 85 cents for every click. So they're actually running ads, and they are getting all of those ads that they want, and they're in position 1, which is awesome. And to only be paying 85 cents, that's cheap, and it's hard to see it that low. Usually it's about $1 to $1.50 a click, depending on your industry and depending on what you're targeting. But 85 cents, that's awesome, if that's what they're looking for. So people looking for bomber jackets, that person is actually paying more. They're paying 96 cents a click, and they're getting less traffic. What that reflects to is there are less people out there looking for bomber jackets. So they're typing in the keyword bomber jackets, and they're getting 6,857 clicks or people going to that website. There is actually a way that you can look at it where it's organic versus paid traffic, and you have to actually break that down. And when you're doing your building of your ads, one of the things I like to do is, like I said, the A/B testing. So change it from bomber jackets to hooded jackets or something like that and see which one works. Paid advertisements not always the way to go sometimes, because if you kind of look down at the one that says denim skirts. All right, so it's only 2,400 traffic. Is that really worth your $1.64 a click? Maybe it is. But when you factor in the price of the denim skirt, every one of those clicks needs to be factored into that price of your skirt. And is it worth those clicks? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. Let's hypothetically say it is actually cheaper than it costs you more to make the skirt than you're actually selling it for. That's kind of one of those things that, okay, maybe you need to up your price because now you've got to factor in your paid per click. Let's just hypothetically say you're not doing paid per click, you're doing organic, then yeah, you're saving money at that point because they're looking for denim skirts. All right. But even if you do everything right, it can take years. I have seen some websites take months. I have seen some websites take years to get their SEO right. That's just one of those things that you can't really 100% predict. One of the reasons I would say that it takes longer is if they aren't in a bigger niched area and they don't have their ads and their keywords drilled down, or there is a lot of competition in that industry. Let's just take the banking industry. There's a lot of competition in the banking industry. Everybody does bank accounts. Everybody does business checking and all of that. So that might be a harder industry to do SEO for, because everybody offers the exact same product at the exact same price and the exact same areas. So it might take a few years for that SEO to rank you higher because everybody's doing exactly the same. And there's really no way or any new keywords to make yourself look different. Which is why I recommend you focus at that point on long tail keywords. What are long tail keywords? Those are basically keywords with 3 or more words in them. That's the easiest way. If you look at it on this picture, is some of the keywords is, okay, the head of it is going to be the dog. The body of it is going to be guard. All right, so best breed of guard dog for families with children. If you put that in there, that would be a long tail keyword. And a lot of people would actually search that. Most people don't just search dog. Most people are going to search the best breed for a guard dog. And then they throw in the with family because they have children. So they want family and children in there. So that would be a good long tail keyword if you were building a website for dogs, is Labradors are good with children and family. So those 2 keywords, family and children, those could be just your keywords right there. But you went ahead and added in guard dog so that more people that are searching for guard dog are going to be incorporated, not just family, not just children. Those are a few examples that you kind of have to think outside the box. And that's kind of one of those trial and error things that, okay, let's write 5 or 6 different articles or posts on that and try best breed for guard dogs, and then best breed for families, best breed for children under the age of 12. That actually breaks it down and differentiates you from everybody else, so that people will say, okay, maybe I just searched for guard dogs, but I have a kid under 12 and I'm looking for their first pet, but I still want the dog to protect them. So that would be some perfect articles to write about, is using those longer tail keywords. That is just something that recently has come into play, I'd say in the last 2 to 3 years. Actually, probably in the last 2 years, because most people don't just search keywords anymore. They search key phrases. So keep that in mind. 1 to 3 words is usually kind of the head term that they try to look at it when Google's going through it or other search engines are going through it and looking at it. Is it's usually 1 to 3 words, and that's kind of where they like the sweet spot. If you add a 4th one, not really a big deal, but if you start stretching it out more and more and more, that can actually hurt you. But if you're trying to drill down to that niche, like back here, to that niche of best breed for guard dogs for families with children, there's nothing wrong with that, because that's the niche you're trying to target. So if somebody wants to run a search, and they do run a search for that, you're going to come up before somebody that just says guard dog. So keep that in mind. All right, for some people that are new to SEO, long tail words are usually the best to start off with. Why did I say that? Just for the fact that it kind of gets your mind working around keywords, and you're actually getting more keywords into your article than you are less keywords. So more is better in this instance. So try to use more long tail keywords than you would just keywords. And over time, you'll see how they perform, and you can look at the ranking. Okay, this website with this ranking, because it's got these words in it, maybe I need to write an article on each one of these keywords, or do a post on each one of these keywords below, and then maybe it will start getting more traffic, and you can say, okay, that one keyword is getting a lot more traffic than this keyword. But totally 100% use long-term key or long trail keywords, because that is kind of your best bet. And that's one of the things that it's starting to look for more and more than just keywords. All right. Finding long-term keywords and that is a breeze. I mean, just go look at how you're phrasing stuff and how other things are phrased and just other information that you can find online. Yes, you're going to have to spend some time looking at other keywords and other words. There are artificial intelligence out there that you can use, apps and programs and all that with keywords that will help you. And I would highly suggest you do that. If you have access to that, do it. It's not going to hurt you. It's actually going to help you. And you can actually start putting words together, and it will give you phrases and different wording of information that you might not even have thought of that you can write an article on or that you can add to your article that will help. One of the best ways to find a long term is go into Google and start typing in dogs and see what it auto completes. And then if you're targeting people that want dogs, then you might want to use how to train a dog or write an article on how to train a dog or how to find a logistic manager. That's one of those things. If you type in logistic and manager comes up, awesome. If, say, you type in logistic manager and software comes up and you're trying to target managers, then maybe not using logistic in front of it. Maybe you're just targeting management software. So keep that in mind. Maybe you do want logistic management software in there. All right. So if that auto completes, that's a good example of a long tail keyword. All right. So why are articles best tools for SEO? If you go here and you look at this, you can just see on this content right here, there is a lot of information. That means Google's got to, or Facebook, or wherever you're putting this article, is having to look at this. They're looking at your content. They're looking at your writing. They're looking at pages. They're looking at the metadata. Metadata is something that you put in the header of your picture. One of the things most people don't actually do is title their pictures when they save them. That is highly important. That is so that Google can't actually see the picture. All they see is that there is a picture there. They don't know what's in the picture. So if you don't title it, Google doesn't know what it is. So how are they going to say, okay, this picture is of a dog, or this picture is of SEO, or different information? In my SEO, I actually like to start it off on my website with my company name, because then it relates to my company. So, okay, blue tack, and then what it is actually in the picture. So it might be blue tack, man working on hard drive. I will actually put man working on hard drive. Those are keywords that it will look at and say, okay, if somebody types in how to fix a hard drive, it's going to pop up that and relate my article to it because I've got on there man working on a hard drive. So when you go into your websites, make sure you label your pictures. As I said, my pro tip is start off the picture name with your company name, because then that relates it with blue tack can work on hard drives, and it sees those keywords and those suggestions. One of the things to look at is you'll see people running articles and stuff like that on TV and all of that. So add some of that content into your content so that it looks better. You want articles on your website because someone that is interested in what they're asking wants to know more about that. Like you guys wanted to know more about SEO. So if I go and write an article on SEO, are you more likely to read that when you Google how to do SEO? Yeah, you're more likely to see that come up, and you're going to read through my article. If you need help, then you're going to probably come to me because you're already on my website. You might not. You might Google more articles, and that's fine. But if I do an article on it and it's very helpful and informative, you're going to refer back to that. And at any given time that you might need a little extra hand or ask some questions, on the bottom of my website of that article, there is something that says, hey, ask Wes a question. You're going to send me an email. I'm going to answer your question. Maybe you become a customer. Maybe you don't. Those are kind of one of those things that With the article, that actually gets people more in depth, and they also learn that you know what you're talking about. All right. There are many tools out there and strategies you can use to rank on search engines and all of that. That's one of those things I cannot give you a one tool to do it all. Some tools work for some people, some tools don't. That's one of those things that you've got to go and look at your keywords that you're using, look at the articles you're using. One of the things I like to do is see kind of what's in the news and then write an article about it. IT is in the news a lot, and a lot of stuff going on in the news has to do with hacking and people being breached and all that. I have quite a few articles on my website about hacking and being breached and how to keep yourself from being breached, because that ad in that TV could get somebody wondering, well, if I'm safe and secure, well, are you safe and secure is the title of my article. Somebody goes to my article and sees it and then says, you know what, for $59.99, which I'm just throwing that price out there, Wes's company can come out and tell me if I'm safe and secure or not. That's why articles are some of the best. So you want to use some tools to figure out, okay, what's going to work and what's not going to work. There are actual tools that will go over your articles, like you see here, and tell you what kind of works better and what doesn't work. Like here, it's highlighting that you should take out 5 and type in the word 5 because it actually looks better. It's saying that you should do away with the word actually. So that is one of those things that will help you determine what are ranking better than others. Different search engines use different tactics and different ways to look at your website. Google might see an article one way, Yahoo will see it a different way, so there is no one way to optimize your website for each search engine to make sure it's going to be 100%, because nothing's going to be 100%. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, with them changing the algorithms all the time. I think they do it on purpose just to mess with people that do SEO, and it's good job security, but it also can be a pain in the butt because all of a sudden I have a client that's saying, okay, I'm having 1,000 clicks a month. Now I'm down to 5 clicks a month. What happened? Well, now we've got to go in there and dig into it and figure out what happened, what they changed, and what keywords do we need to change, or what articles do they need to write to get them back on that first page. All right, writing an article. Here is one of the tools that I use, and I tell everybody to use, is let's write an article. It's powerful. It allows you to use many different keywords and phrases. That's one of the things. Google doesn't know what you're writing about, but it will see those keywords and those key phrases so that it can index them. And when somebody types in that phrase, it's going to pop up and send them to your website and send them to your article. Easy and simple. Writing an article is the beginning of a lifelong result in SEO. So what do I mean by that? Perfect example when I was talking about the articles about iPhones. And you put in an article on iPhone 6, and then you do an article on iPhone 12. If somebody types in iPhone and they don't specify 6 or 12, it's going to rank your website higher because you have 2 articles on that. You have it on the iPhone 6, and you have an article on the iPhone 12. Your competitor only has one on the iPhone 12. So once it sees, okay, there's more articles on this, it's going to rank your website higher. So keep that in mind. That's why I say usually when it comes to articles, I always leave them up and just continue either adding to that article or add another page that adds on to that article. So a lot of people will see blogs and it will say, click here to learn more. That's one of the ways that it will see, okay, there's an article on one page and then an article about it on a second page. It doesn't know that, okay, these articles are pretty much the same. It just sees, okay, these 2 articles are on that blog, so I want to rank that page higher because they have 2 articles, or 10 articles, or 100 articles. Whoever usually has the most information is going to be on top. And that can even go into play when you're going to paid for ads, because I have actually seen people ranked higher that aren't paying for the ads because they have good content on that subject. So good content is worth its weight in gold. If you don't have somebody that is good at writing content, I would highly suggest you hire somebody that does. There are plenty of freelancers out there that will do that. I have people on staff that do that all day long. That is their sole job, is to write content. But that's one of those things. You want good content because you're going to get good results out of that good content. All right. Create as many backlinks to your website, which improves your website's popularity and ranking. As I said earlier, if you have more content on one subject, it's going to point those people to your website more often than less often because you have those backlinks and it sees, okay, there's 30 pages on this one subject on this person's website. It doesn't know that, say, all these pages are exactly the same. We go back to the example that I use on my website is, okay, if I'm trying to target people in McKinney and in Collin County and in Princeton and Plano and all those areas around mine, if I write a website and have content for each page for each area, it's going to say, okay, this person has a lot of content for this county on computer repair. I'm going to send them that information and send them that website so that this person can go to it because they're going to be able to take care of that person a lot better than this person that only has one site that's only targeting Plano, if you look at it that way. So that's one of the ways that, okay, those articles can come very, very important. It can come time-consuming, very time-consuming to do that. But you know what? Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, and having somebody write and do articles constantly on your website is going to help you tremendously. It's not going to hurt you at all. All right. Are they affordable? That's kind of one of those things that you kind of have to look at is, can you afford to hire somebody full-time to do SEO and to write articles? Yes, most likely you can. That's why I would suggest you can do Upwork or other sites like that where they're constantly writing articles for you. There's also places that will do certain amount of articles for X amount of dollars a month. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can employ a ghostwriter to write stuff for you. One of the things I actually like to use is I use an app called Copy AI, and it does a lot of my content writing. I will put in some key terms that I want to write about, and then it will write small articles about it. Sometimes it works tremendously. Sometimes it absolutely stinks. That's one of those 50-50 things. There are plenty of college kids and high school kids in their senior year and looking for extra pay. So you could pay them a couple $100 and have them do all your copy writing and all of your content writing for the entire year. You can reuse content over and over and over. I wouldn't say repost it as a new website over and over and over, but in ads and stuff like that, if you're running ads, you could use that information over and over and over. One of the things I like to do is pick a certain topic and write on that whole topic that entire week. And say a year from now, I'll bring that content back and write about it again and maybe change some of the way and some of the topics and some of the keywords in my writing about that article to see how my results are. Maybe I talk a whole month on one entire subject. That's fine. You can bring that back years from now and reuse it. Or I wouldn't say delete it from your website, but let's just say it's not getting very good reviews or not a lot of information, and you just you're getting too many websites, so you delete it, bring it back 6 months. There's nothing wrong with that. I would leave it up personally just because it's easier to leave it up than it is to delete it and put it back up. But once again, there is a good side to that, is because then it triggers Facebook and Google and whoever else to look at your website because it shows a new website page has been added. So that could help it. but also going in and making a small change to the website, like adding another bullet point or adding more information to that article would send a signal that, okay, this page has been updated. We need to go back through it and look at it again. Google is constantly looking at your websites. I couldn't tell you how often they do it. I don't know. They could be looking at it daily. They could be looking at it monthly. That's one of those things I just don't know. I don't know how often they go back and look at it and look at your keywords. I wish I did, but unfortunately, that's one of those secrets they don't tell anybody. All right, if somebody tells you they can do your SEO once and you're done, you need to fire that person. Find a new person because they don't know what they're doing. As I said in the beginning, if the algorithm updates, how is that old article with old algorithm going to fare in the new update? Because now they're not looking at keywords, they're looking for key terms, and your page only has keywords. So now you're not going to rank at all because they decided to tweak it. That's my piece of advice. If somebody says, okay, we can do it, and we only have to do it once, and you're done, yeah, fire them. If any of my employees ever told anybody that, they would be looking for a new job because it doesn't just happen once. It might be, okay, we'll do it once this month and look back at it next month and see how it's performing and do some tweaks. Yeah, that's fine. It kind of depends on if you can afford having somebody constantly working on your SEO and constantly adding articles. And that might be something, like I said, you hire that college student to write all your articles, and then over a period of a month, a week, a year, or whatever, you just slowly add those to your website and continue just adding more and more content. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually what I do. I don't pay a college kid to do it because I have content writers on staff. I just tell them to do it. But I will pick one subject for this entire week and have them write all about that for the entire week. And it's said and done. And like I said, I'll bring that content back maybe a little bit later when I'm going back through this information. If I just taught this class on SEO, you guys wouldn't be here because I've actually taught this class 4 times. That's one of those things is okay, but I updated my content, 100% changed it this time because I realized it wasn't saying everything I wanted to. And guess what? They changed their algorithm, so I wanted to change my content to match more of the stuff that I think and that I've seen them looking for. All right. Questions based on keywords. That's one of those things that you need to kind of have in your thing. That one of those tools that you need to use is you can use plenty of free tools out there that can kind of tell you, okay, these are some of the keywords you need to use. It's never bad to have in your blog questions and then you answer them. So if somebody asks that question, then it's going to route it to your article and you answering the question. Here's just one example of one of the free tools you can use. There are several out there. I don't know all of them. These are just the ones I know about. Very helpful. Some of them actually set limitations on, okay, you can only do X amount of keyword searches a day, or you can do this many of this a day, or you have to pay. Totally up to you. I don't get paid by any of these companies. These are just some of the tools I use and some of the tools my content writers use, and they recommend. As you can see, here is one of the tools that's called Answerthepublic.com. So basically, this is terms that people are looking for. And you can see, okay, it starts off with why, or how, or are, or which. And these are some of the terms that you can go into that, okay, if you wanted to run a search on different information or you want to answer questions, these would be some of the good questions to answer on your blog or answer on your website or have a webinar about or something like that. This would be a perfect place to go in and find out these terms that are being used because they pull these directly from Yahoo and Google and other search engines of what people are asking. So keep that in mind. Answer Public is a good one. It can target your audience. You can see, okay, this is how much people are paying per clicks. That's what CPC stands for, is how much people are paying to have people routed to their website using those terms. So that's another research to say, okay, if I want the fact that more people to come to my website, I'm going to have to pay more than $13.57. So I might have to pay $13.58 per click. So that's how I'm going to set my budget to know how much I'm going to have to pay per click. Is okay, so me running this ad, I'm going to have to put $5,000 into it instead of $300 because of the volume that's going through. That's one of those things where people can't really tell you how much it's going to cost you to run ads because they don't really 100% know. This is kind of a guesstimate of what people are paying now. So that's $13.50 per click this month. All right, well, let's say more people start searching that term. Of course, the price is going to go up as more people search that term. Here's another one. It's called QuestionDB. It's where you can go in and pretty much ask it different things and different keywords, and it will give you some questions that you can use on your website to use as key phrases or to write blogs on or something like that. As you can see, you can set up an account. You can get pricing and all that, so it probably has a limit on as many words that you can search a day, or you can have it where it can plug into your website and automatically look at key terms and all that stuff and send you relative information on that. I personally haven't used the API that plugs into the website. I only use the free version because a lot of the times I know what keywords I need to use and what I need to target versus just talking to you guys. And also I have a website design team and they handle most of that, so I just turn it over to them and have them take care of it. All right, if you want to find a creative keywords, here's some other websites that you can look for. Seed Keywords is one. That's a good one to use. The next thing is you can ask your clients, customers, friends, whatever. That's a good way to get information, is do a survey call and just ask them some questions of if they were looking for this product, what they would type in for it. Easy and simple. Ask some of your colleagues, ask some of your colleagues' kids. Because a lot of that, if you're targeting the younger generation and all of that, your best information can come for free from your colleagues' kids or your customers' kids or something along the lines of that. I have found out that people love filling out surveys. So that's a good way that you can get keywords, is you can put keywords in surveys and questions in surveys and see how people answer it. And you can get keywords that way and key phrases that way by the way they answer the questions and answer what they're looking for. So surveys are awesome. A lot of people like them on Facebook more than anything else. I don't know why. It just seems to be that everybody likes using Facebook to answer questions, and that's a good tool to use. And sometimes you can get it and use it for free. Sometimes it's better if you pay for it, kind of depending on what you're targeting. If you're in a group, and then let's just say it's an IT professional group, and you're looking for more keywords, then I would go in there and ask them a bunch of questions and have them do a survey and get free feedback, because that's the audience I'm going to target. So Google Groups is really good for targeting that audience. Say if you wanted to target dentists, you could actually go in there and ask them questions and get your keywords to put on a website. All right, so here's just a picture of what seed keyword looks like. It shows you kind of, okay, you typed in some keywords and you can change it by the search engine and all of that at the top and kind of tell you, okay, food delivery search is an exact match. So that means that, okay, people are using that. As I said before, like meals and all of that, there's an exact search. So if you were providing Meals on Wheels, you would want to put Meals on Wheels, or that we provide meals to this, this, and this. That would be a keyword or key phrase that you would want to use, like food delivery. People are looking for food delivery. Since it's an exact match, I would definitely put food delivery on my website if I was delivering food, so that when people run that search for food delivery in my area, your website's going to come up. All right. So once again, this was hosted by Wes Sneed, which is me. My website, bluetechit.com. My email address is bluetechit.com. My phone number is there. And I am going to stop sharing my screen and go ahead and unmute you guys. I'm stop sharing. Sorry, you got to do it all. I'm going to unmute everybody, and let's go ahead and jump on to some questions if you guys have any questions. No questions? Somebody's got to have a question. I am that good that nobody has a question? That is shocking. Or am I just not hearing? Oh, I just have my speakers on the wrong thing. So that would be a reason why I can't hear anybody. That's my bad. I am so sorry. All right, I should be able to hear everybody now.
Thank you, Wes. That was a great overview. Kind of give us a better feel for what's involved in it, and it's a lot.
Yes, it is. And I'm sorry, I only caught part of that question. I only caught what's involved, and that was all I heard.
That's okay. I was saying that was a very nice, thorough overview, and it makes us realize how much is involved in it. And a lot of people have to decide whether they want to participate and do all that, or if they want to outsource that, because that's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, definitely. It is a lot of work. It can cost anywhere from $99 to thousands.
Well, so for a beginner, where would you suggest that they start?
That kind of depends on what's your target audience and what you're trying to achieve with your SEO. My personal thing would be go on a website or go to like Udemy or another website like that and learn how to do some SEO and look at some of the how-to videos and all of that. I think that would help a lot. One of the other things that I have seen is that a lot of people start looking at other people's blogs, and that's helped them a lot. And I would highly suggest, go look at somebody's blog, see what they're writing about, kind of see if that is tailored to you and something you want to write about, and kind of just start writing articles and writing blogs, or however you want to say it, on your website, and putting content on there, and seeing how that's getting you, and seeing what results that's getting you.
So the optimal size for a website, I know you mentioned didn't hurt to keep adding pages. So your ideal website, if it's full of SEO and all sorts of wonderful content that is exactly what your client base would be looking for, how big would you suggest to make that website? How many pages is too many pages?
There is no such thing as too many pages. And optimally, about 60 to 70 pages.
That's a lot. Okay.
It is. It's a tremendous amount, but it works. And I'm actually rebuilding my website, and I'm up to 45 pages now.
Sounds like a lot of work. Thanks, Wes.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Cool. Well, if any questions come up in the or future, feel free to let me know. You guys have my email address. Y'all can reach out to me on Facebook. And you guys have a good rest of your night.
Thank you, Wes. Appreciate you.
You're welcome. Bye.